Getting into the next company, which would be Aztec Candle and Soap Supplies. So I don't want to say anything negative about any company, but I feel like I have to be honest and kind of add a disclaimer in here that I had a lot of issues with these oils. Not all of them from this particular company, but so many of them that I've never had with any other company that it put me a little bit at unease for promoting or suggesting to anybody watching these videos to order from this company. So I don't also, like I said, I did have some good ones from them. So I don't want to completely discourage you from ordering from them either, but it's just a buyer beware and purchase with caution type message I want to send. And I will tell you which ones I had the issues with and what kind of issues I had with them, and also tell you the ones that I didn't have any problems with and I really did like, and it worked beautifully for what I needed them for. So that being said, getting into it, the first one I have here is Hello Beautiful. It is a Bath & Body Works duplicate of one of their body sprays and fragrances that they use for their lotions. It's something that I bought my daughter for Christmas one year, and I really liked the fragrance. So when I saw it there, I thought I have to try it. As far as the fragrance itself, it is a very nice fragrance. It's a little sweet on the more floral side, very pretty, very feminine. I liked the fragrance. It had a nice strength to it, and it did smell very similar to the original. The issue that I had with this one, though, is that after I had added it to my beads and my beads had already been dry for a week or two, they almost started to become wet again. So after being dry for so long, suddenly my beads were wet and sticky again. I don't know what was causing that, but I've never had it happen with anybody else's oils. So I don't know what's doing that. Not all of Aztec's fragrances did that, but this one was one that did. And I don't know if that's a good thing for the car freshies. Next from them, I have Appleberry. This one I really, really liked. It is a crisp apple, clean scent. It reminded me a lot of like an apple scented shampoo. It's very nice, very strong, and I didn't actually have any issues with this one once my beads were dry. They stayed dry. I had no problems with it. If I were to order from Aztec again, this is definitely one that I would reorder. This is another great one from Aztec, Volcano. I think it's actually supposed to be Capri and not Cabri, but it's a duplicate of another fragrance. I think it's either a cologne or a perfume. I would assume a perfume based on the way that it smells. It is a very citrusy fragrance. It's you can definitely pick up mostly grapefruit, which I was reluctant about, but it actually really works in this fragrance. It's really nice. It's one of the more popular fragrances for car freshies, and this one from Aztec was really strong, and I didn't have any issues with my beads after they were dry. Here we have Black Ice. So this would be similar, or another version of the duplicate of the Little Trees Black Ice. In the first company, theirs was called Black Frost, and personally I would prefer this version from Aztec over the Sentimental Gifts. They're both very similar. They're both about the same strength, so not a huge difference between the two, but my personal preference, I like this one better. I also didn't have any problems with this oil and my beads or them staying dry. This one is Lava Flow Poptail. So when I first got this oil in, I really, really liked the smell of it. But after a while and making a few freshies, it started to become not one of my favorites. Not a bad scent. It's kind of fruity. It's supposed to mimic like a popsicle cocktail combination, more on the tropical side, kind of pineapple, not heavy on the coconut. It's not terrible. It's okay. I wouldn't say yes, go run out and buy this one now. But if you're interested in it, I would not discourage you from ordering this one. I didn't have any problems with my beads after they were mixed. Next we have Mahogany Teakwood. This one is really popular. A lot of people request this fragrance. And most other Freshie makers rave over how strong this particular fragrance is. Not necessarily from Aztec, but from other companies, they say it was really strong. I personally would not put this on my list of strong fragrances. It's definitely one of the softer ones. I'm assuming that is just from this company. I think there are other companies you can order from where the scent is a lot stronger. I haven't tried it from anywhere else yet, so I can't say which ones are and which ones aren't. So if you're looking for a mahogany teakwood, I would maybe start somewhere else because this one didn't seem to last very long and it wasn't very strong. This ice cream parlor, this is one of the oils that I had the biggest problem with. So at first the fragrance was okay. It had that generic, cheap kind of ice cream vanilla fragrance to it, but it wasn't awful, so awful that I thought I couldn't use it. So I did mix it with beads, and I have made several Freshies with it. Problem is, this one of all of them was one of the worst when it came to my beads becoming wet again. After about 2 weeks, it was almost like the day that I had mixed them. The oil was just coming back out of the beads. I don't understand how after beads can be completely dry, how they can start to be wet again. I'm not sure what does that. Once again, I don't know if they're adding something to their oils or what the situation is, what's in them that's causing them to do this. But this one was one of the worst. I'm at the point with those beads that I don't even think that I can use the rest of the jar because they're so wet and they stick together, and it's just not how you want to bake aroma beads. So beware of this one. I would say not a good one for car Freshies. I don't know if because they are a candle and soap supplier as well, if maybe whatever's in these oils doesn't cause a problem when you're using them on those other products. But as far as car Freshies, I would definitely say stay away from this one. Here we have Heavenly, which is a Victoria's Secret perfume. It's a perfume that I wore for many years, so I was really excited about getting this one in because I missed having that fragrance. But I was soon disappointed when I smelled it because it smells nothing like the Victoria's Secret perfume. If you've never smelled the Victoria's Secret perfume, it's a very warm, kind of spicy scent, definitely a fall fragrance. It's really nice, feminine. It's just one of my favorites. But this, when I smelled it, is almost identical to SPF sunscreen. And I'm not talking tanning oil like the coconut, pineapple, tropical, tropic sun type tanning oil. I mean like kids sunscreen SPF. That is exactly what this smelled like to me. So, and it's in addition to that, the fragrance is just extremely light. So not something that I would be able to use for my Freshies. This one is 1,000 Wishes. It is a Bath & Body Works duplicate. I don't know what the original fragrance actually smells like, so I can't say whether or not it smells like the original. But I did like this one. It had a nice strength to it. It is a warmer women's perfume. It's actually similar to what I would expect the Heavenly to smell like, just less sweet than the Heavenly should have been. But same thing with the beads. After a while, they started to get that wet, sticky appearance and texture to them again. Not sure how that's possible, but this was another one that it did start to happen with. Next, I have Blueberry Vanilla. This one I really liked. It is not a true blueberry fragrance. It's definitely more of a candy fragrance. It's very, very sweet. Probably overly sweet for most people, I would say. I really liked it. But even I realized that most people probably aren't going to be a huge fan of this one just because of how sweet and candy-like it is. But it was very, very strong, and I didn't have any issues with it in my beads. This is Aztec's version of the Baja Cactus Blossom. This one I also had in the Lone Star group, and I decided to try it from Aztec as well. The fragrance overall It wasn't a bad fragrance. It just didn't smell like the one from Lone Star. I don't know what the original smells like, so I don't know which one of them actually hits more to the original. But this one had a warm, spicy undertone, kind of like a cinnamon or some type of spice that didn't seem to be natural within this particular fragrance, because I assume it's supposed to be more of a crisp, clean scent like the Lone Star one is. So overall, not a bad fragrance, had a nice strength to it, but even my daughter said it kind of smells like a Christmas scent, which it's not. So if you were going to choose between this one or the Lone Star, I would definitely suggest the Lone Star. This one also did start to become wet after my beads were dry. Here is Strawberries and Cream. This one I was not thrilled about. It had a very cheap fragrance to it. I was expecting more of a fresh strawberry type scent, but it was very generic smelling, almost like cheap kids chapstick if I had to compare it to anything. I didn't have any problems with my beads staying dry with this one, but after I had baked the Freshie, I had done some of my puff paint decorating on it, the leopard print, and I had used a hot pink puff paint, and overnight while it was drying, the puff paint went from hot pink to white, and I don't know why it did that. My suspicion is it had something to do with the oil, because I've never had it happen with any other oils or any other Freshies before. So that's another one of those issues that I had that I would just let you guys or make you guys aware of before ordering this particular fragrance from Aztec. This one is Copper Coconut. It is a Bath & Body Works duplicate. I love this one. As far as coconut fragrance goes, this is my top pick. I don't know what the undertone is, but it's a very fresh coconut scent with a little bit of maybe like a perfume or like a metallic fragrance underneath. Either way, it's really nice, really pretty. It has a good strength to it, and I didn't have any problems with my beads staying dry. So this is actually one of my top recommendations if you're ordering from Aztec. This one is called Twilight. It, for me, was a little too light to use. I don't think it's strong enough to go in a car. I don't think it will last very long. So it was a little disappointing that it was such a weak fragrance. But if I had to describe it, I would say maybe like a men's soap is kind of what it reminds me of. It's clean, but has a masculine scent to it. Not my personal favorite, and because of the fact that it's not very strong at all, unfortunately, I wasn't able to use this one. Here we have Pumpkin Creme Brulee. This one I think smells absolutely delicious. It is very strong and it smells amazing. If you are into fall fragrances or pumpkin spice, anything, this is definitely a recommendation of mine. I'm looking forward to using it because I ordered it in the spring and we're still now in summer. I have not mixed any beads with it because it's definitely going in my fall lineup. I'm not going to be making anything with this fragrance until at least September, I'm guessing. So I don't know if I'm going to have the issue with my beads becoming wet again. Hopefully I don't, because I really, really love this one. I love the strength of it and I love the fragrance. So I'm hoping I don't have any issues. So I can't really say if this is one that's good to use, but as far as the fragrance goes, it's awesome. Here we have Gummy Bears. This one smells identical to a freshly opened bag of gummy bears. I really loved this one. It was one that I actually put in my car and it was really strong. I was really happy at first, but once again, this is another one of those fragrances that after a while, my beads were no longer dry and were wet again. So unfortunately, I probably won't be ordering this one again, despite loving the fragrance. Here we have Bombshell, which is a Victoria's Secret, a duplicate of a Victoria's Secret perfume. This one, I'm not sure what the original is supposed to smell like, but this one in particular barely smells at all. It is so hard to pick up a scent from this fragrance oil. It is so weak. It is probably one of the least fragrant oils that I have bought so far. So this is one that we've previously talked about. It was a fragrance that I also had from Lone Star Candle Supply, and Monkey Farts, which is not one of my favorites, as I said before, but I did decide to try it from another company to see if they had a version that smelled better to me. And I don't know what is in this fragrance oil, in this one from Aztec, but not only does it smell worse, but it smells like there is a chemical in there. I smell a little bit of fruit, and then suddenly it's just an overwhelming scent of nail polish remover or rubbing alcohol, something that just smells really toxic and almost burns my nose. So it's another one of those where I'm just like unsure about Aztec's oils, because that really there's no reason it should smell like that. And it smells really unnatural and harmful. This one is White Peach and Hibiscus. I had really high hopes for this fragrance, and when I got it in, not only do I not like the fragrance of it, which is probably just my nose that doesn't like that fragrance. And if it was a candle, I think maybe, or a home fragrance, I think I might be a little bit more open to it. But for car freshies, I just don't think it fits. It's another one of those ones that just doesn't, in my head, fit with being in a vehicle. But in addition to that, this oil is so light, it's hard to pick up a fragrance from it, and it's super weak. I can't even see it being strong in a candle or in soap. So this one is not one that I would recommend ordering from Aztec. This one is called Bahama Fizz. It is a Bath & Body Works duplicate. I don't know what the original fragrance smells like, but this one smells nice to me. It's pineapple, it's tropical. It's not just overpowering with coconut like most tropical scents are. But unfortunately, this one, in my opinion, just was not strong enough to use for car freshies. This one is April Fresh. It is a duplicate of Downy fabric softener, and it doesn't, to me, smell identical to the actual fabric softener. It doesn't have a bad scent. It is a fresh fragrance, but another one that I just don't feel has that strength or that lasting potential to use for car freshies. So here we have the Victoria's Secret Love Spell again, but this one is from Aztec. The other one that I've already spoken about was from Lone Star Candle Supply. When I first got this one in, I thought it smelled awful. It did not smell right to me. It didn't smell anything like the original. It didn't smell anything like Lone Star's version, which I have already stated was pretty spot on to the original. So I was a little upset with this one, but it was just a free sample, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But now I opened it up again today so that I could describe why it didn't smell right to me, and now it smells fine. It actually smells nice and pretty close to the original all of a sudden. I swear it did not smell like that when I first got it, but it is lighter than Lone Star's. So for this one, I would say if I were going to use it, I would probably order more from Lone Star and mix half and half. Like I've got an ounce of this, and I would probably add it to beads with an ounce of oil from Lone Star, and then use this ounce and mix them together so that I know that they're going to be strong enough, because this particular oil just isn't that strong. This one is called Prince Charming. For me, this one is just too light to use for car freshies, but if you're still wondering how it smells or what type of fragrance it is, it reminds me a lot of old school Avon soap. So it doesn't have a really masculine scent to it like I was expecting. It just kind of smells like a generic soap. Here we have Black Coconut. It is a Yankee Candle duplicate. I'm not sure what the original smells like, but this one I was not a fan of. It wasn't too weak to use. You can see the bottle's empty, so I did use it, but I ended up mixing it with another fragrance to create something a little bit different. But just for a coconut scent, I was not a fan of this one. I don't know if it just it has something else in it. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's like some kind of citrus in the background or what, but for me, I just wanted a very clean, natural coconut fragrance, and this wasn't it. Here we have Socal, which is a Hollister cologne duplicate. I'm not sure what the original smells like, but this one had a nice fragrance. It's a little bit of a lighter, cleaner, slightly sweet male fragrance. It's not as musky as most male fragrances are. So if you're looking for something lighter, you don't want something that just smacks you in the face, but you still want a masculine scent, I would say this one was actually pretty nice. Next is Fruity Pebbles. It says type because, of course, it is a duplicate of the cereal. I cannot stress enough how much this one smelled identical to Fruity Pebbles. I mean, right down to the milk being added. My kids really loved this one, but because it was so spot on to an original fragrance, I was a little concerned with people wanting their cars to smell like cereal. So I did use it because my daughter really liked it, so I ended up making her a Freshie that's hanging in her room. So just if you're looking for Fruity Pebbles and this is what you want, this one's spot on. I would recommend it. But as far as being a popular seller, I'm not sure this is something a lot of people would be looking for in their cars. This one is Blueberry Pumpkin Patch. It is a duplicate of a Bath & Body Works fragrance. I don't know what the original Bath & Body Works fragrance smells like, so I cannot say whether or not this hits on point or not. But my prediction would be that it doesn't, because I pick up very little blueberry, I pick up very little pumpkin, and honestly, for the most part, I just smell straight pie crust. So in a candle, actually, when I smell this fragrance, I think that would be a really good candle scent. But because it's too much of a pastry pie crust fragrance, I just don't think it's something that would ever use in a car freshie. This one is Coconut Lime Verbena. I'm not sure. I don't know the correct way to pronounce that one, but it is a Bath & Body Works fragrance. So this one is a duplicate of that. And this one to me had no coconut. Right out of the bottle, and even once I added it to beads, and once the Freshie was baked, all I could pick up was the lime. If I had bought just a straight lime fragrance oil and compared it to this one, I think that I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. So I was a little disappointed that I didn't get more of that nice mixture. So if you're looking for this particular fragrance, which I know is very common in the Freshie world, then I would definitely seek out another company to try from first. This one is very sexy for men. It is a Victoria's Secret cologne dupe. And this one, I think, smells really similar to the Christian Dior's cologne Sauvage. It's one that my husband wears, and it's pretty close to that. It smells slightly like a cheaper version of that cologne. But unfortunately, this fragrance oil is too light for me to use in Freshies. Last one we have from Aztec is Bow Ties in Bourbon. It is a Bath & Body Works duplicate, and this one was on the lighter side. It wasn't so light that I couldn't use it, but it's probably one that I wouldn't order again. The fragrance itself, I'm not sure what the original smells like, but this one has a little bit of a cologne scent with like some smoky undertones to it.